Hey everybody, it's Videobob, and I'm here with one of our cool cars from Bob's Prop Shop. This is, of course, the A-Team van. Now, this is a 1995 Chevy G15, last year that they made this van, which means it has ABS brakes and an airbag. Now, the one on the show was a 1983 van. It's running right now, runs quiet. This one is a fuel-injected V8, has a brand new transmission, and I'm going to tell you about some of the things that we did to this van. This was, of course, a regular cargo van like they all are, because all of the no-window cargo vans with the sliding door, they were just used for plumbing vans, electrical vans, things like that. And that's what made the van culture so interesting back in the 70s and 80s, that you could customize what was basically a cargo van and make it into something really cool. So this van has been done exactly the way it was on the television show, with black on the bottom, red stripe, gunmetal gray on top. There's a black pinstripe and then a gray pinstripe, and the red line is put just above the body line, and that's the way it's supposed to be. A lot of people remember the van just being all black because they had toys that were just all black and didn't show the gray. This has been done in a satin finish. In the first couple of seasons, when they first did the van, you didn't see the van that much in the show, and it was glossy, and they figured out immediately that having a big glossy black van was going to be bad because you could see the film crew in the side of the van. So what the special effects guys used to do, one of their tricks, is they would spray like deodorant, like Air It Extra Dry. They would spray that on any kind of glossy thing like a TV or a vase or a window or a van and get some of the gloss off of it. So in the later seasons, you'll see the van is a kind of a matte satin finish. So we decided to go with that because we think it just looks the coolest. A couple other things that we tried to pay attention to were we didn't do the fiberglass mirrors. The fiberglass mirrors have to be molded into the door. They take a little small mirror you can't see. We didn't do that, which wasn't correct. We didn't paint the door handles, which was incorrect. But what we did do was concentrate on making the van in good condition. So almost everything on this van is new. Every lens that could be replaced, the bezels, the grill, the bumpers, all of the fog lights, this windshield, all of the rubber, every single piece of rubber on this van, all of the shocks, the brakes, the transmission, the radiator, the hoses, the belts, everything that could be replaced was replaced. This thing is like a brand new van, like it's 1995 again. So this thing runs great. We've hooked up all these fog lights up to a relay system so that they're relayed and fused going directly to the battery. So you've got all these fog lights. Got this custom-made cool bumper guard, the custom-made stamped-out plates from Celebrity Machines. As far as the interior goes, basically we had these seats custom-made to match the way it was on the show. Everything that was in the interior of the van was removed. We took the dash out, the cluster, every single thing. All these panels, all of this was removed and refinished, painted or recovered. Every single handle or knob that could be replaced was, including these arm pads. All of this rubber here, these vent windows, found some new old stock, some of those are impossible to get. Just literally everything was replaced on the van that could be. And like I said, this is one of the rare 95 vans that has an airbag, ABS. We're putting a custom cruise control in here. Something that we also did that's really cool is we left the factory 95 radio in there, but hidden inside of the ashtray is an MP3 stereo. So this upper console is just for looks. You know, the CB and the scanner, they don't work. They're just there for looks like they were in the television show, but the rocker switches that operate the lights, they do work. And there is speakers mounted on the top that do work, that are hooked up to the MP3 Bluetooth stereo. There's also modern voltage gauge, as well as some USB ports, because hey, listen, you got to be able to listen to your tunes, man. The interior of this thing has been completely covered in insulation, so that it not only soundproofs it, but hey, listen, this thing is a big black van driving around in the summertime and the wintertime, and you got to insulate it. So you know, the wheels are pretty dirty. We were doing some donuts down there in the field, having a little fun, because after all, it is a commando van. It's gonna have to be pressure washed now. But these are the correct 5-lug wheels with the BF Goodrich wide tires. They're offset. They're larger in the back, smaller in the front, just like it was on the TV show. You know, there was a bunch of different versions of the van. throughout the 6 seasons of the show. You're going to see different versions of the van that are the 5-lug, low profile, with the stance like this in the back. We've got the air shock so that the back is lifted up a little bit. Then when you'll see off-road shots in later seasons, they use the 3500 8-lug van, which is like the one that we did last time, the one that we did on our television show. You'll also see when they jump the van, that's an earlier 70s van with round headlights. That was a custom frame van with the motor mounted in the middle, and that was for jumps only. There was even a Econoline van that they used that they dumped into a river. So throughout the 6 seasons, you'll see a lot of different versions of the vans and a lot of different versions of the interiors. Some of them had bench seats, barrel seats. It just depended on what they needed for that scene. Sometimes you'll see the wall interior would be the vinyl coin flooring style, or just plain vinyl, or nothing at all. You know, sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's black. The van changed all the time. And I guess the explanation for that was, hey, it was a commando van. Sometimes they rolled it, sometimes they blew it up, and every time BA had to fix it, it got fixed a little differently each way. But you could do, you know, you could see from the look of this thing, it's a beautiful van. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the accessories, like for instance, this wing up here. You know, when you buy these fiberglass wings, they're just a hollow, cheap wing. I mean, the thing, they expect you to mount this thing with a couple of like V-bolts, like you would hang a plant in your house. I don't recommend that. What we did was we disassembled the thing. We put metal plates inside, triple thick fiberglass, and mounted bolts in there. So it's bolted onto the body. I mean, it's not coming off, okay? You would break it in half before you'd ever get it off. Same thing with this visor. When you buy these visors, you know, it's just a piece of fiberglass that they expect you to just screw on there. We reinforced it with metal pipe, fiberglass into the structure of it, then added metal plates to the top that go all the way through the roof and into the interior of the van, so it's not coming off. I'll tell you why I did that, because the very first one of these that I ever built, we just bolted the thing on there. We got going down the highway hauling ass 80 miles an hour, and that thing flew off, okay, and took the wing out with me, and they both went. So I learned my lesson, and these are mounted on there really, really well. That's really important when you're building one of these. But again, I think it's really important that people understand that this is how the correct paint was. All you got to do is watch the TV show, guys. Pop in the DVD and watch it. I can't tell you how many times I've argued with people over the paint job. And we studied the show carefully to figure out exactly not only the width of this line, where it goes. I mean, there's just little intricate details. For instance, you know, these lines, these pinstripes are about 1/8 of an inch until they get to this part of the door, and then they become 1/4 of an inch, and they go all the way up. And then we figured out where this line goes, it matches up to the rear axle of the van. So that's exactly how it was on the television show. But the problem is when you were watching it when you were a kid on a 19-inch TV, might have been a black and white TV, even if you had a color Sony Trinitron, it was still only 240 lines resolution. And you probably don't remember seeing that, because when you were a kid and you bought those toys, whenever you got a toy, they didn't bother putting the gunmetal gray on the top. So I can't tell you how many times I've had the argument over whether or not it was gray and black. People just remember the black. So this is just how it was in the show. This is the configuration, with the exception of the mirrors. Something else we haven't put on here yet is there's some running boards that went along the bottom. If you want the running boards, we can make that happen. Otherwise, it still looks cool without it. Hell of a cool van, runs strong. We drove it from Dallas to Baltimore and Baltimore to back. Thing runs great. It's got cold air condition, good heater. It's a great running van. So, I hope you enjoyed our little video about the A-Team van, and I'm Videobob. If you like stuff like this, please check out our website at bobspropshop.com. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you're into this kind of thing. And maybe you saw our show, a TV show, Screen Machines, on the Reels channel here in America, and on Discovery, D-Max, and Turbo throughout the rest of the world. And thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Videobob.